This episode is brought to you by Cargo, a strategic marketing firm that we at Stone Mantle have partnered with for years. Cargo knows how to build meaningful brand experiences because they ask every prospect or client the same question. What if every customer brought you your next one? Let's face it, customers advocating for your brand, not you, is the only currency that matters now. It's the kind you earn by investing in moments that move people, experiences that hit deeper, stick longer, and spark something real. Because when something feels personal, when it truly resonates, people share it. And when they do, you don't just earn attention, you earn trust, traction, and impact that money alone could never buy. Cargo focuses on just that, inspiring advocacy, creating unforgettable brand moments that spark real connection, meaningful conversation, and loyalty that builds movements, not just market share. For a limited time and only for Experience Strategy Podcast listeners, they're offering their proprietary advocacy readiness workshop for free to a few companies who are serious about getting every customer to bring you the next. Follow the link in the show notes to sign up and tell them that Dave, Aransas, and Joe sent you. Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Joe Pine, author of The Experience Economy, Dave Norton, an experienced futurist and founder of Stone Mantle, and me, Aransas Savas, an expert in coaching, motivation, and behavior change. Each week, we bring you a trending story from the news and share our hot takes. This week, we are headed over to Adweek, and the article is titled Uber Drives Home, they're clever, the power of showing up in new On Our Way ad. This is written by Sydney Lee, published August 26th. The article reports on Uber's new 60-second spot, the latest installment of their On Our Way campaign. It was launched during the 2024 Paris Olympics. The ad, which they created in-house, shows just common excuses for missing experiences, being crossed out and replaced with positive actions, just showing how Uber is going to help people show up for important moments in their lives, whether it's a graduation or just an everyday meeting with a grandparent. According to their VP of Global Marketing, the campaign's goal is to highlight the company's reliability and dependability by showcasing how this entire ecosystem that Uber's created enables people to show up for the moments that matter. So I thought this was a really interesting angle for them to take. Of course, we've talked a lot here about these full circle offerings that allow companies to meet an end-to-end user need in a really cohesive, thoughtful way. But I also think it's a really good example of modes-based thinking. And need-based orientation to product marketing. Dave, what came up for you as you read this?
You know, it's great storytelling, and even though we're not big fans of advertising per se, we are big fans of
fans of advertising.
We're not
it's just
fans.
not what we're focused on.
It's not what we're focused on.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan, period. Sorry.
I'm a fan.
I'm the best.
I like storytelling.
Like 1%.
Storytelling. We are big fans of storytelling.
Yes.
All of us, I think, agree. And this is great storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going on here. And therefore it's very versatile. It's gonna go across different media and be very, very successful. It's an example of telling stories about meaningful experiences, where it's the people who are creating meaningful experiences and Uber playing a role of kind of the service, but still is there to support those most meaningful experiences that people have in their lives. So I think it's a powerful kind of example of some of the things that we've talked about in the past, where we've talked about it, that it takes a lot of services oftentimes to support those most important experiences. So I think it's really compelling from that standpoint. I also agree with you, Aransas, that it is about modes, and it is about it's about situations that you find yourself in where you need a way to be supported. And oh, by the way, there's this entire ecosystem that supports all of these different situations that come up, that arise in people's
Here's
lives.
what you're hitting on. And I had a conversation on LinkedIn a couple of days ago with someone who basically made all the points that we have been making about experiences as a differentiation in an AI age. And her point was that marketing was a differentiation in an AI age. And I was like, when you say marketing, the parts of marketing that you're describing are actually experiences. And that's what I see here. So, to your point, Uber is a service.
Mm-hmm.
They have done some work in experiences, but largely it is a service.
Yep.
And it's a useful service. How are you going to tell a differentiating value story about a service? Through an experience. And that's what I like so much about this, is that they're showing how experience is actually the reason you would buy the service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's interesting is that they, to me anyway, is that not only is a service, they're leaning on the serviceness of Uber in this commercial, in the whole campaign.
As an enabler for experience.
Dependability and reliability, right? So this is just like down the plate service as you can get. Saying, don't buy us on an experience. We're there to be dependable. We're there to be reliable. When Uber first came out, it was an experience because it was like I'm waving a magic wand on my phone and a car appears and I get in and it takes me where I don't have to talk to them. It takes me where I want to go. When I get out, I don't have to do anything. I mean, that was magical. And then you get used to it. And it's that dependability.
Well, Lyft was like, no, that's not an experience. We're going to actually give you an experience and put eyelashes on our cars and make them pink and give you a friendly driver because we know that the value is in the experience. And then again, that too became commoditized.
Right. Quirky's not an experience. But what they do is they enable the human experience. Right? They enable the human experiences, connecting people to places, connecting people to the people that are in those places. Connecting them to food in one aspect of it,
sure.
At least in the ad, it is very well done. They're telling the stories, and very quickly. It is amazing in today's age how quickly you can grasp a story with 3 seconds of video that they go through that and say, "Hey, we're here to support you in doing this."
To me, the big lesson here, though, is for brands that are principally in a commoditized industry, to look at the opportunity to position themselves as enabling experience.
Right.
I think that is really interesting and really powerful. And that's exactly what they've done here. They've said, yeah, we're not an experience. Our job is to be really good at a service. But you know what that service is really valuable for? Giving you an experience, because we know that that's what you're actually paying for. And I'm thinking about endless businesses that could tell a similar story, but frankly aren't. They're still so stuck on, we're going to do it faster.
Well, the irony is that there's one industry that almost always kind of tells this story, and that's the insurance industry. It's very much about the situation that you find yourself in, and all of a sudden you need this service.
You know why that happened, though? It's because one brand did it.
Yeah, like Progressive. Right.
And then everybody else was like, in the same way that like in the diet industry, we had one lever to pull for innovation because it was the only thing that worked, which was a new program to give people a new sense of hope. In the insurance industry, Progressive pulled the lever on experience and frankly, fear of regret, which is what underlies all insurance purchase decisions. And they said, hey, let's stimulate fear of regret at the moment of purchasing insurance so that people, through imagining that experience, are willing to invest more readily in the insurance purchase.
Yeah. So I think that they were very much situationally aware for a long period of time, but it's a situation that doesn't come up very often. you don't have that many accidents that happen,
Hopefully.
hopefully, in your life. Although
Dave,
I mean,
I can still remember one time my wife got into an accident. Maybe it was me actually into an accident, and no, it's her. And she tells the other person, tells you the brand new insurance agent that we got that we'll just send it to our usual repair guy. Don't tell your new insurance agent you have a usual repair guy.
That's
Okay, since
hilarious.
I just got my first car in this century, if I have an accident at some point, I'm going to ask you for advice on that because I actually have no idea what you're supposed to tell an insurance agent.
That's so funny. You New
That was my
Yorkers.
key takeaway from today's episode. Thanks, Joe Pine.
You're welcome. So let's kind of look at this for a second. It's really easy to make a promise. It's hard to keep that promise. And this has been something that we've talked about for many years. So if in fact, what Uber is saying is that we're going to make it possible for you to be there, they're promising certain things. What would we provide as actual experiences or services associated with these different types of things? So I've got a couple of things to think about. First of all, functionally, help me get from point A to point B. That's what they're talking about, right? They've got some seamless tracking, fairly accurate ETAs, proactive communication, which is all great. We love that. That's fantastic. But then we build on that, right? So they're suggesting that there's peace of mind that comes from having Uber always there. So help me feel secure. That's the emotional job, and in control during uncertain moments. I think that there may be some more that Uber should be thinking about doing from an innovation standpoint to make sure that people do feel secure in those situations. It's not enough, I don't think, to just be transparent about when they're going to have reliable updates. There's more to peace of mind than that.
They do recently announce one where women can only get rides from women drivers. That
Perfect.
And the passcodes that they're using now to help ensure that you're actually getting in the car that you mean to get into. I have a teen account set up for my children as well. And I think that's another emotional job that is very situationally focused. So enabling a parent's relationship specifically to Uber, I think is another great example of what's
excellent
here.
So they're working on it. So let's go further with our jobs to be done framework. Social job, help me be a reliable person who keeps commitments and coordinates well with others. Potentially, that's kind of what's being promised in the campaign, right? In the campaign, what can Uber really support that? I don't know that I'm more reliable because I use Uber. I don't know.
It is what they're saying, though. You're right.
It is what they're implying, right?
Yeah.
There's no excuses.
And at least if not reliable, it's the fact that, wherever you are, I can connect you with that social function, with that person you want to meet, with that party you want to go to. Even if you're half drunk and can't drive yourself, right? I'm going to be able to do that for you and make that happen.
I feel like that should be called "There's a Way."
Yeah. We're going to help.
That really is the message, isn't it? That like none of this is impossible.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how well they're doing around social jobs, but that might be something really interesting. I can think of a number of times where we've had a group of people and we've all showed up at the same time, and we needed like 3 or 4 Ubers to show up, and it's tough to coordinate all of that activity. So maybe there's an opportunity in those kinds
I
of
mean, yeah,
situations.
that's happened at the collaborative meetings, and it's not like, well,
Exactly.
why can't Jackie order multiple cars? No, Jackie can only order one car. Then she's got to ask somebody else to order another car that they're paying for when we might like to pay for it. And
Exactly.
the collaborative is collaborative, and they all do it very well. But still, the idea is like, I want to order multiple cars here to go someplace and pay for it all myself, and I can't do that.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
I use the book for someone else feature now. But that is again for the teen account. And it'd be interesting too if you could do a book for me and book for someone else simultaneously.
Yeah, at least at
Mhm.
that. Are there any aspirational jobs that they're getting done?
Certainly
Can you
for the
think of anything?
drivers. Right. Like it.
Yeah, for the
You know,
drivers.
like help me be the kind of person who navigates urban mobility. You know, like I, mean, I don't even know that that's a real
No.
thing. That just
Well,
seems
I mean,
kind of
actually, I
dumb.
think their social jobs are fairly aspirational, right? Like it's
Mhm.
kind of be the person you intend to be.
Okay, maybe.
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
I
You
mean,
actually
this
live up
is
to your
this
own
is one of the problems.
expectations.
It truly is a service.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So it's like having a hard time getting to that next level. The
Honestly, what it would be show up for that interview, that job interview, without being a nasty, sweaty mess.
maybe something like that. Joe, you were going to say something.
The article talked about how this campaign, that their old campaigns focused on specific parts of the Uber business.
Mhm.
Uber business. We're mostly talking about the primary one of of booking your own ride. But there's Uber Eats and there's other things that they are doing. I don't in fact know them all, but they're saying that they're bringing this together under one unifying idea, right? Bring it all together. So is there, Dave, a systemic play in the fact that you can do this for you, I can do that for you, I can do that for you, or is that from the Uber viewpoint, not from the customer viewpoint?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that the systemic part is where it really is. It doesn't really. The aspirational is hard to imagine. The social is good, but it's episodic. But systemic, help me orchestrate mobility as a part of my life coordination.
To rule them all.
When Aransas moved from Brooklyn to do we dare say New Jersey? I mean, it's like it's on the exurbs. She had to buy a car.
Yeah.
Before that, there was a system. There were multiple systems that could support her, so she didn't need a car. We keep hearing about, the future for the rest of us is that the car will just show up and take us wherever we need to go. But I think that there's a lot around systemic jobs to be done. So it's integrated with your calendar. It's part of how, like when you book your doctor's appointment, it automatically suggests an Uber or something along that line, if that's appropriate, if that's a feature that you really want. If it's not a feature that you want, then I don't think that it's necessary. But I do think that Uber, when it started offering Uber Eats, it moved to being more of a systemic tool because it's now supporting two different domains of our life, which is when systemic tools start to really be important. So I think it's an interesting thing that they're doing. I think the storytelling is good, but there's maybe more around systems and modes. I agree with you on modes. We haven't really talked about that as much, but
I was going to ask you about that because when Aransas brought up modes, you quickly went to situations. And I was curious, like, are you saying there's a one-to-one correlation of mode and situation, or
no? The reason is so a mode is a mindset and a set of behaviors that you get into, right? Oftentimes that's triggered by a situation that you find yourself in. Sometimes you bring the mode that you're in to the situation. Like I'm already in, I'm already in a crisis mode. And then all of a sudden this situation arises, which makes it even more difficult. So they're two different things, but they're both time-based. They're both dealing with the same kind of challenge.
Well, I think we can use my example, right, of my daughters needing to use Uber alone. So mom of teen with a child who needs to commute solo, that is a situation. I am in mom mode. So my mindset, my drivers are get them there safely, get them there efficiently, get them there without them wasting all the money that I'm spending on this because they don't know how to find the car or which one to get into, or they're afraid of getting into the wrong, right? Like there's so many ways that can go wrong. And so that's where I think like this situation based thinking on behalf of the organization is so powerful. And they've done actually a really good job with that innovation. I feel like my kids are scaredy cats. Literally a TSA agent said to my 14-year-old at the airport, she was like, "You need to be more brave."
Oh my gosh.
I was like, ouch, man. Just because she doesn't want you to pat her down. But it, they're kind of scaredy cats. They heard us when we said stranger danger. And so getting them to get into the backseat of an Uber alone took some convincing, but there were enough systems put into place that they understood our modes and our situation in totality to make it a fairly seamless experience. I was able to track them the entire trip, for instance. Like I said, there's the code that ensures they're getting into the right car. So everyone has these reassurances for any worries or fears that might come up in the process.
That's great. That's a great example. It's a great example. So no, I think that they're definitely related to each other. What we have to do, and what I think is also really amazing about this particular storytelling, is there is no target audience. Again, this is what we're seeing. The storytelling is about situations that most people find themselves in on a regular
basis. Target audience for every segment of the film, and that they're going after different people.
Maybe, but it doesn't seem like it. I mean, they're just telling
pretty universal storylines. Like, you have relatives.
Yeah, that's a lot of us.
And I'm pretty sure the way they got to those stories, this would be my guess on how they chose the stories, just for what it's worth, it has nothing to do with the Experience Strategy podcast, is I bet they looked at TikTok and they saw it racked up a lot of views. And then they said, let's turn those into situations.
Well, so they're targeting TikTok. They're targeting that generation, TikTok generation, not you.
That's every generation, by the way.
Right. Maybe, but I found them to be very universal, and I think that's why they did so well. Oh, we should do a whole podcast just on how TikTok and situations kind of come together. And I don't know, I'd have to do some research on that. But
yeah, I mean, the most shocking data point that I toss out in every collaborative, it seems, is that we've never done a group even on the most sensitive of topics, like who do you trust to understand your cancer care or your financial well-being, without hearing the answer in one of the focus groups of someone saying, oh, there's this guy on TikTok.
Yeah, that's true. Or this guy on Facebook.
Or this guy on YouTube. Yep. It's always this guy on TikTok or this guy on YouTube. And that is who we trust. So we might as well accept it. What a weird world we live in. Anyway, this was fun, guys. Next time we'll talk more about why Joe doesn't like advertising. But for now, thank you all for listening. And we look forward to being back here with you next week. Reach out to us on Substack, The Experience Strategist. You'll find Dave, Joe, and I there. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, as well as your ideas for future articles or hot topics that we should tackle.